Code Ninja Security Advisory here. Let's get right into it. We are currently tracking a critical perimeter breach that's targeting the LiteLLM AI gateway, officially categorized as CVE 2026-42-2008. As a white hat researcher, my objective with this explainer is simple but absolutely urgent. We need to force an immediate vendor patch cycle and mitigate a highly weaponized, actively exploited zero-day vulnerability. Look, if you're running an AI proxy anywhere in your stack, you need to consider your perimeter hostile right now.
36. That's it. 36 hours and 7 minutes is exactly the amount of time that passed between this vulnerability's global indexing and the first targeted SQL injection striking a live server. Honestly, the days of having weeks to casually test and deploy a patch, yeah, those are completely over. Adversaries are monitoring the exact same vulnerability feeds that we do, and their automation is frighteningly fast.
Just look at how incredibly fast this escalated, illustrating that rapidly collapsing patch window. On April 20th, a maintainer advisory was quietly published to the repository. But the actual starting gun for threat actors went off on April 24th, when the flaw hit the GitHub Advisory Database and was indexed globally. By the early hours of April 26th, boom, we saw Phase 1 and Phase 2 of active network strikes. The window for defense was practically non-existent. Okay, before we dive into the actual technical payload, let's do a quick comms check. Think of this channel as your early warning system. I need you to secure your intelligence feed right now by hitting subscribe to @cybertech79 and turning on those notifications. This isn't just self-promotion, it's a security necessity for real-time intel. Also, drop a like on this explainer right now as a formal ACK, an acknowledgement of receipt for this intelligence.
I also want to run a quick census to gauge the real blast radius of this zero-day out there in the wild. Hit the comments below and sound off. Are you currently patched, or are you sitting vulnerable right now? Let us know your status so we can crowdsource the true scope of this exposure across the community.
All right, moving to Section 1, the protocol, defining the blast radius.
So what exactly happens when a gateway like this falls? Well, the stakes are absolutely catastrophic. LiteLLM sits directly between your internal apps and upstream providers, which makes it a massive Tier 1 target. First up, provider credential theft. We are talking about the master keys for OpenAI, Anthropic, or AWS, accounts that often carry 5-figure monthly spend caps. Second is exfiltration. Attackers can grab customer PII and internal secrets straight from the proxy logs. And finally, a breach here offers lateral movement into your network, which ultimately leads to remote code execution. We're talking total server takeover.
Let's geek out on the mechanics for a second. CVE 2026-4228 relies on a critical pre-authentication SQL injection. It lives right inside LiteLLM's proxy API key verification step. In the affected versions, the authorization bearer header value is just glued directly into a database query. No sanitization, no parameterization. That means anyone, literally any unauthenticated client that can reach port 4000, can input a single quote, break the code, and inject arbitrary commands right into your Postgres backend. Wild, right?
And this sets up a ridiculously lethal two-request exploit chain. Step 1. The attacker fires that pre-auth SQL injection through the bearer header to extract a virtual key. Step 2. They replay that stolen credential and, instantly, they are an authenticated user. Step 3. Using that shiny new access, they exploit a secondary vulnerability, CVE 2026-42203, to trigger a server-side template injection. This lets them execute malicious code directly on the server. With literally just 2 requests, they get full container takeover.
Now, what's genuinely alarming when looking at our telemetry is the tradecraft we're seeing. Usually, generic scanning is super noisy, script kiddies blindly spraying payloads against benign tables hoping for a hit. That is absolutely not what happened here. This operator executed deliberate schema enumeration. They knew LiteLLM uses Prisma, a database tool that generates very specific Pascal case tables. They bypassed all the junk and went straight for the high-value targets, LiteLLM_verification token, LitLLM_credentials, and LitLLM_config. They knew exactly where the secrets were buried.
Diving into the raw intel and indicators of compromise, or IOCs, we observed a single operator using a Python AIOHT user agent. During Phase 1, operating out of an egress IP in Germany, they fired exactly 17 precise union payloads over 21 minutes, just to map the schema. Then, they cleverly rotated their IP to bypass rate limits. From that second IP, they deployed refined payloads until their automation exhausted its list, ending with a terminal OR 1 = 1 tautology.
This wasn't a spray and pray. This was highly sophisticated automated extraction.
Okay, Section 2, the protocol, actionable mitigation steps.
We know the threat, so let's pivot sharply to defense. Look, do not wait for a scheduled maintenance window for this. Consider these immediate directives. Your absolute primary objective is patching. This vulnerability spans LiteLLM versions 1.81.16 all the way through 1.83.6. Your immediate upgrade target is version 1.83.7. That version replaces the string interpolation with a properly parameterized query which completely neutralizes the injection path.
And look, if your instance was sitting naked on the public internet during that 36-hour window, you have to initiate post-breach cleanup immediately. You must treat that database as compromised. First, rotate absolutely all virtual keys, master keys, and upstream provider credentials. Just burn them all. Second, deploy web application firewall rules that specifically inspect authorization headers for SQL keywords like union or select. Third, restrict your proxy. AI gateways hold way too much value to sit exposed on the public internet. Put them behind internal networks or mutually authenticated proxies. Finally, audit your cloud billing right now for any massive spikes from unfamiliar IPs.
Finally, Section 3, the code, ethics, and sign-off.
Why are we doing this Explain It right now? Because as security researchers, we adhere to the practice of Coordinated Vulnerability Disclosure, or CVD. We disclose these specific details precisely because adversaries are already in the dark, weaponizing these flaws against you. As the research notes summarize so perfectly, users need to know to protect their systems. A SQL injection against an AI gateway is, in practical terms, a SQL injection against every model provider account it fronts. We are sharing the mechanics of this exploit so you can actually build the armor to stop it. So I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought to really force an immediate self-assessment of your infrastructure. Is your AI gateway a secure, monitored proxy, or is it a fully weaponized backdoor just waiting to be opened by a simple to-request exploit? Patch your systems, rotate your keys, and lock down that perimeter. This has been a Code Ninja Security Advisory. Stay secure.